And it's a very, very personal letter. And at the end of it, in chapter 6, Paul writes, "But you, man of God, flee from all of this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. Take hold of the eternal life to which you were called when you made your good confession in the presence of many witnesses." Well, Kayla, it's been a long time coming, huh? Over 2 years. That's why we don't normally celebrate the confirmation of adults quite as much as we do with the young people, because the young people they commit 2 full years of weekly Bible classes to getting confirmed. And you know, it's really a great tradition. You know, some people look at that and they say, "Oh man, you're asking too much." But in the early church, that was kind of standard routine for everybody. You had a year of discipleship, really, and it was a one-on-one work with one Christian. And the whole idea is that you knew what you were getting into. Of course, in those days that was necessary because a lot of times you were asked to give your life for your faith during the persecution. But it's a tradition that the Lutheran Church has continued, and it really is a great opportunity to get founded in your faith. And now you're at the time when you're ready, Caleb, to stand up and to make your confession, to assume responsibility for your spiritual life. In a sense, it's a coming of age as a spiritual adult. And even though these words were written by somebody else 2,000 years ago to someone else, I think they're really appropriate for you, for all of us today, but for especially to you on your confirmation day. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. What does it mean to stay the course? This is going to be a great day. We're going to have a great lunch, and everybody's going to congratulate you. But tomorrow's coming, and all the same temptations and all the trials and all the difficulties, they're going to keep coming. So it's not a one-day thing. What you're doing today is this is a special day. You're making a statement, but now it's living it out each and every day of your life. And that's the whole purpose of what Timothy writes. Staying the course. You keep on the straight and narrow. Now he begins by telling Timothy, flee. He says you got to stay away from something. And I'm going to talk to you now about something that your teachers and your mom have been telling you ever since you were born. You got to develop good habits. Every one of us have to develop good habits, because it's our habits which determine our character. What we do every day is going to determine the kind of character that we have. And the sad thing is that good habits are very, very hard to develop, and they're very easy to break. On the other hand, bad habits are very easy to fall into and very hard to break. Just an example. It's very hard to study for 2 hours every night. It's very hard. And even though you might do that for 2 straight weeks, the third week, if somebody says, let's just go out and play video games or watch TV, it's very easy to say, yeah, I don't want to study. On the other hand, if you watch TV 2 hours a night, and then all of a sudden have to break that habit and study for 2 hours, that's a very hard habit to break, isn't it? All you can think of is watching TV. That's the way life is. The habits that develop character are agonizingly difficult to maintain. And there's always temptations coming from every angle. You don't need to do that. Don't worry about it. Nobody else does it, so why do you? And the bad habits, well, that's what everybody wants you to get into. Be like us. Now, what are some, you knew I was going to give you some specific applications to make you squirm a little bit. This is a young man's sermon today. Okay? Maybe us older guys can learn something from it too, but yeah, ladies, you can doze off. But this is a young man's sermon, and sometimes young men got to hear this stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that we got to be, well, I should say we, I'm old. There's a lot of stuff that we got to flee. And it's interesting, the word flee here. It's not flee 1 time or flee 2 times. It's run away from it. It's one of these words that has an ongoing meaning. Every day you're running away from it. And And sometimes physically running away from these temptations, these habits, is the best thing. You just physically remove yourself from it. Now, one of them is the whole party scene. Now, I'm not saying that if somebody comes up to you and says, oh, let's go to a party, you say, oh, I can't go to parties. But there are types of parties that you got to stay away from. And the Roman orgy type party that's kind of becoming more and more popular is one of them, is the one. I was watching the Best of Saturday Night Live the other night, and they had a skit about young girls going off to, you guys watch that too? I just watch it to find out what other people are watching. You don't have that experience. But I watched this skit about these young girls who are going on spring break. And they're all in the airport, and they're telling where they're going and what they're going to do. And here's this girl with a fifth of rum. She's 18, 19 years old. She's drinking the rum, and they ask her where she goes, and she says she's going to some exotic place. Well, why are you going there? And she says, so I can have group sex and hash in the same week. And everybody laughs like this is hilarious. But this is the attitude today. This is what parties are getting into. A total exaggeration of drinking, of drugs, and sex. And to be real honest with you, you can mess up your life in one night this way. Now, there's a lot of people who say, well, I did that for a lot of years, and I didn't mess up my life. I didn't get AIDS. I didn't, blow my mind on drugs or whatever. I didn't OD. But this kind of a party atmosphere, it corrodes the soul because it's such a powerful physical pleasure that what happens is that the party scene and the party mentality just dominates a person's thinking, and all you can think about is party. But what is party? 1% of your life. The other 99% is work and taking care of your responsibilities. And you get into that party mode and you can't function responsibly because it's just too boring, too oppressingly common. So you gotta watch out for that. You gotta flee. Second thing you gotta flee is I be a bad dude and all the women love me scene. That women are sex objects. And that's something that's very common today in our world. That women are just trophies. And you accumulate as many as you can for as long as you can, and then you get married and you turn into a wonderful, dedicated, faithful father and husband. Well, it just doesn't work. Now again, you'll find somebody somewhere in the world that'll say, well, I did all that and it turned out okay for me. Well, that's 1 in 10 million. It just doesn't work out that way. What you start out doing, you're going to do forever, usually. Bad habits like that are very, very hard to break. Guys can find women who take off their clothes. That's not a problem. That's not a challenge. The challenge is finding a woman who will speak the truth to you and will live by the truth of God. That's the woman you want to find. So stay away from that women are a sex object scene, which is, boy, that's just in front of us all the time. Third thing to run away from is that it's bad to sweat and it's degrading to work for less than $25 an hour. And this too, the idea that if I've got to sweat, well, that's for somebody else. That's for somebody lower than me. And I can't do that. No. The most powerful shaping force in the life of a young man is hard physical labor. I said, what do you mean? I'm not a slave. No. It's not that. It teaches discipline. When you have to sweat, when you have to hurt, it teaches you how to work hard, how to develop work habits, and it teaches you money skills, right? Think about that. If somebody's always giving you the money, and you go shopping, oh man, it's the easiest thing in the world. Yeah, I'll buy that. But you're working for $8 an hour digging. And all of a sudden you go to the store and you see something for $150. You're thinking what?